Hey y'all, it's Joey Richardson here. I wanted to give an update on the Braves, and I just have to say they won their division, nice 7 wins, I think, or something like that. Wow, hard to believe that they just had a heck of a season and did better than last year's regular season. And 3 players with 30 or more home runs. Acuna had 40, at least 40 home runs, but he couldn't get 40 stolen bases, which he had 37 of. Wow. Although Freddie Freeman was in the MVP race, and Acuna was too. You might as well say neither one of them will win. With Freddie, having a hurt elbow that limited him, and then Acuna just sat out an entire week of baseball because they already sealed the division and needed to rest the guys. So there were a few guys resting in between, and while some division winners still play to try to win more games, the Braves like to sit out starters and give the backups a chance to get on a playoff roster. And one guy who did not make the playoff roster, Austin Riley, he's still got to learn what pitch to take and what pitch to hit or swing at. He's just not seeing the ball well, and no surprise that Riley's not on the playoff roster. Tehran is left out for the in the division series. Well, Julio Tehran had a bad month to end the season. I mean, the last 3 or 4 starts didn't go so well for him. So it was time. So he ain't on the playoff roster for the division series. Who they get? Which they got the Cardinals, and I hope the Braves, finishing second in the NL in the regular season, can finally get a playoff series win. I sure hope so. But the Braves seem to choke in the playoffs. I hope that changes and they actually make it to the World Series. There's even Braves fans predicting the Dodgers will get put out by the Braves. We'll see, because my friend Haley, her husband, who I think she said his name is Mike. If you're seeing this, Mike, I just want to say the Dodgers and Braves could meet up in the playoffs and may one of our teams win. So yes, my text buddy Haley, her husband's a big Dodgers fan. She don't care about sports, so she may or may not see this video, but her husband definitely will, and I want to thank you for supporting me, Mike, if that is your name. I believe she told me that's what it was. So yeah, the Dodgers did have a good regular season, and they did actually win 100 games. Maybe a little more than 100, but the Braves were just a little shy of that. So it definitely doesn't say the whole story of the Braves got better when the Dodgers came to Atlanta. So it's just one of those things where you gotta wonder, did the Dodgers make enough improvements? Did the Braves make enough improvements? Which team is more improved if they face off in the NLCS? And the rosters will expand for that series too. So Tehran could be back, but and anyone else left off the roster could be available. I just think Riley, back to Austin Riley, good power hitter, just needs to hit the ball better. That's all, and needs to stop swinging at bad pitches. I know, I know a lot of good hitters will swing at bad pitches, but Austin Riley is just did it far too much. And while I did see Dansby Swanson starting at shortstop, before he had a couple of good games in the last week, there was rumors that Hechavarria would be starting at short, or could possibly. But I think Dansby deserves to start here. I don't know if Hechavarria will be back next year, knowing that we have Dansby under contract. So Dansby was doing good up until his injury, and he wasn't the same guy when he came back from injury. I don't know if he had enough rehab assignments, but then again, the regular season for AAA was almost over, so that kind of hurt him a little bit. But he had a 4 for 6 night and a 3 for 5 night, and then I think he went hitless after that. But it's still, those two games together showed that he still had a live bat going for him. And I know they were against the Royals, who were terrible. So it's okay, I guess. Because it still shows it. He still showed life, whether it was a terrible team or not. And the Dodgers get the Nats in the first round. So the Braves do have their first playoff game today around 5. And it's 2:35 right now, Eastern time. I do hope that, I don't know if I'm rooting for the Nats or the Dodgers in that series. I do think the Dodgers ultimately pull it off. And as for the Braves, if they can get up on the Cardinals, because Cardinals have one starting pitcher that's really good, and then you got Wainwright, who's been good for a while, but has kind of declined a little bit, but still a very good pitcher. So if the Braves can get through the starters while they're in Atlanta, I think Atlanta's in good shape. I mean, Soroka's probably going to start game 3 on the road because his road ERA is really good, Soroka. But I think Keuchel and maybe Fulte will be game 2. You normally would think Tehran would be game 1 or 2, but no, Keuchel game 1. I think Fulte game 2 and Soroka game 3, and Fried could be game 4. Matt Fried maybe game 4 if needed. And I think he'd do fine. The only problem with him is he got run support during the regular season. His ERA wasn't that great, though, compared to some of the other pitchers. Most of it was run support, but his ERA got better as the season went along. It's just that his ERA was high despite winning because he had run support. So, anyways, Donaldson, Freeman, and Cunha all had at least 30 home runs. They all came close to 40. I'm not sure if Freeman hit home run number 40 or not, but I know Cunha had like 40 or 41 maybe. I know Freddie's bat was kind of dead because he had a hurt elbow, and I don't know if he has a bone spur in his elbow. It needs to be cleaned out because when Fulte's elbow wasn't cleaned out, he was not pitching well. But the Fulte we have now, with his elbow cleaned out, shows much improvement. And if Keuchel can't come through game 1, then Fulte needs to step it up game 2. And I know Soroka can get it done on the road in game 3 if needed. But I just don't want to be down 2-0, 0-2 to the Cardinals. I do believe the Braves are the better team, but the playoffs itself will tell you. And the Chief Crew for the game, I'm not a big fan of him, considering what happened in Atlanta in the wild card game. I didn't like when the wild card game was first implemented, but now it kind of makes sense to see which team gets the momentum going into the playoffs. And it depends on who that top seeded team is, if they have cooled off or not. I still think the Dodgers can beat the Wildcards. Now on the AL side, I'm not as worried about them. Everybody's predicting the Astros to win it all over Atlanta or the Dodgers. I can see that, and Mike, don't get discouraged if it's Dodgers and Astros and Houston wins. I mean, after all, your base is in Texas. you know, Fort Worth is in Texas, so you probably get a hard. You probably hear it from fans of any of the Texas teams if the Astros were to eliminate the Dodgers from the World Series. Anyways, Mike, I don't want to give you a hard time anymore. I just wanted to mess with you there, cause yeah, your wife's amazing, and I know I haven't met her personally, but through texting, she seems really good, and I'm glad you have her, and I'm glad you allow her to text me. That's really appreciative. But anybody else that I know loves Atlanta, we all gotta hope that the Braves stop choking, and that starts now. Let's pull for our Braves, and let's just and anybody else who has a team in the playoffs, y'all pray and just be cheering on your team. I mean, the Yankees and Astros could very well be in the NLCS. The Yankees and the Astros could very well make it up. I don't know what's going to happen there, but guys, y'all just pull for your team no matter what. And by the way, I do know a Yankees fan who probably won't see this video. He's baptized as a Mormon and is at Moody Air Force Base down here in Valdosta. But yeah, he's a Yankees fan. I know he's probably rooting for them to go to the World Series and win it. But does he know that the Astros are a really good team? He does. He realizes that he probably does realize that Houston's a good team if he saw the playoff bracket and realized how good they are. If he knows their starting staff of the Astros, he knows that the Yankees might be in trouble if they face each other. Because the Yanks staff is not as strong, I don't think. I think both teams will probably be an offense. It's either going to be offensive slugfest or defensive slugfests, depending on what the Astros put on the mound. They got three-headed monster, just like the Giants used to have. The San Francisco Giants, that is. They used to have a three-headed monster of their own when they were successful in postseason play. And now you got the Braves who just has all these weapons. So I wouldn't say they're like the Astros, no. I think the Astros and Braves could meet up in the World Series. But don't take my word for it. Just, you have your own opinion. You can support mine or you can come up with your own. But thanks for tuning in, guys. And by the way, Josh Donaldson, he wasn't overpaid. He hit enough home runs and his batting average went up. It's enough to say, hey, he's not terrible. He's actually a decent hitter. He's just not he almost let the MVP form in the second half of the season. So that's just one thing I want to point out. I'm sorry I ever called him overpaid, overrated, whatever. I think Donaldson isn't overpaid and he might be worth more money in the off season. We'll see how that goes. So guys, that's it. If you like my opinion, then you can like. And if you have your own opinion, well, you can either tell me or you can just think it in your own head or tell someone what you think of this video. So, okay guys, thank you all, bye.